Hey, it's Hannah from Salary Transparent Street. We're at Indeed's headquarters in Austin, Texas. We're going to interview some Indeedians and ask them what they do and how much they make.
I'm an office coordinator here at Indeed. I started off as a contractor, and then about 5-6 months later, I got onboarded, so I'm hitting my year soon.
How much do you make?
For my cost of living adjustment, salary, it was about $42K. Now it's about maybe 50.
Best and worst things about your job.
I love the very inclusive culture, how much everybody honestly really cares about you and your mental health. The least, as much as I love people, it's a very people-facing job, so it is a little bit draining on my social meter, but I still enjoy it.
Do you have any career advice for others who might be interested in a job like this?
Don't take anything personally ever. One other thing that my manager told me is if you're ever in a situation where somebody has really intense emotions, you don't ever have to take on their emotions. You can step back but still empathize and sympathize with them.
I'm in procurement, which means I buy software on behalf of my company by negotiating legal contracts and pricing. I've been in this field for about 6-7 years now.
How much do you make?
I make about 95K, and we have about on average a 15% bonus.
Do you like what you do?
I do. It's definitely a lot at first. So many legal terms, your head is spinning, but eventually you get to understand it.
Do you have any salary negotiation or market research tips that worked for you?
I talked to friends who I had at this role and understood how much they were making, and that goes a long way.
I'm an instructional designer on the Global Learning and Enablement team.
How much do you make?
I make $80,000 a year.
How did you get into this? What did you study in school?
So in school, I actually studied early childhood education and special education. I was a kindergarten and first grade teacher for 8 years. And then when COVID hit, I had to turn all of our paper and pencil materials into digital materials. And through doing that, I taught myself ways to make it more creative and engaging. And then a friend of mine pointed out to me that that's instructional design. So when I was ready to make a career change, I started looking at instructional design roles, and here we are.
Do you mind sharing what you made as a teacher versus now?
Yeah, in Rhode Island, I was making about $60K. And then when I moved to Texas as a teacher, I was making like $53K.
What?
So
Because
really
of cost
tough.
of living?
That's a great question. I don't know if it has to do with cost of living. I think teachers in general are not paid very well in the state of Texas.
You miss teaching? Are you happy where you are now?
I miss the kiddos a lot. I love them so much. But I don't regret making the career switch. It was really hard being tired and stressed all the time and living paycheck to paycheck constantly. A lot better balance now.
I'm a software engineer.
How much do you make?
I currently make $155,000 a year.
Cool. How long have you been doing it?
That's a good question. This stint, 7 years, and then I took a 14-year break before that.
Did you go on a discovery break? Did you try to figure out something else?
Software engineering in the late 80s and early 90s was not nearly as much fun as it is now.
Okay.
And I went into management and QA and project management and product management and automation, and I wasn't very good at a lot of those things.
Okay.
I tried to fight and claw my way back to software engineering. Indeed gave me the opportunity to get back into it full time.
What do you think worked out for you?
I had to modernize my skills and taught myself iOS programming. I didn't get a job that was primarily iOS when I came here. I relied on some previous experience, but I'm doing iOS programming now.
What's your favorite part about the work that you do?
There's a creative aspect to it, and I really like working on stuff that's end user visible, engaging with an end user. That's why I really like working on the iPhone apps.
What would you tell yourself back then, knowing what you know now?
I would tell myself, hey, you're ADHD. I found that out 3 years ago.
Better late than never.
Yeah, really. If you don't like what you're working on, go work on some different software.
I'm a manager of business operations. I'm dealing with money and budgeting and hiring people.
How much do you make?
I make $125,000 base, 20% bonus, and then some equity in the company. I started off at an accounting firm, making about $50,000, and then kind of each year have just kind of increased and switched over roles and switched departments. I've pretty much always been in the same industry. I've only switched companies once, and within Indeed, I've switched teams once. I think it's always good to be learning and trying something new and building new connections, and I've learned so much in each job I've had, especially about what I don't like to do, so I would highly recommend it.
What did you study in school?
I have an undergrad degree in finance, minored in Spanish.
Does it matter what your background is coming into this? Do you need a business degree?
I think a business degree or finance or marketing, accounting, something like businessy is helpful, but you really don't. You learn a lot on the job. It's a lot of spreadsheets and project management and just communicating.